I'm Andrew McCrae, and today I'm talking with Nationwide about the recent ransomware attacks on the food and agriculture sector and what farmers and commercial ag operators can do to protect their operations from such a threat. The FBI has warned of increased attacks on the food and agriculture sector. With me now is Todd Lukens, Senior Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer with Nationwide, to offer insight on this troubling issue. Todd, we hear about ransomware attacks quite a bit, but can you describe for me what is a ransomware attack and why is it so dangerous?
In simple terms, a ransomware attack is one where a criminal gets access to your computer network and then locks up your files and your systems so that you can't use them. They then demand a ransom payment for you to get access back to those systems and or data. These attacks have ramifications that can last from days to weeks to months.
What specifically about those ransomware attacks make them so challenging from a risk management standpoint?
Criminals have been trying to get into companies' networks for years. Their aim is always to maximize their profit. Now, with the amount of sensitive information and personal data that has been stolen in recent years, and we're talking about billions of records, the market is flooded with this information, and the value on the dark web has decreased. So ransomware, it allows a criminal to potentially make millions of dollars in a very short amount of time.
What do you believe is behind the recent uptick of ransomware attacks directed towards farms and agribusinesses?
Any industry that relies on a complicated supply chain or has time-focused requirements to get products to consumers are going to be in the crosshairs for these criminal groups. And agribusiness, it fits squarely into these criminals' target area.
So I hear about these and I think, well, that's a big farmer type of thing, big agribusiness, but why should a smaller farmer be concerned as well?
These companies are oftentimes growing really fast, and they're growing faster than their security programs can keep up with. In many ways, they make the perfect target. They are big enough to be able to pay the funds of the ransom in order to get their access to their systems and data back. A lot of small to medium-sized businesses have a mindset of it won't happen to me. So they don't take the necessary security precautions to protect their networks in a way that the bigger companies do.
Todd, how can we make our operations then less vulnerable to a ransomware attack? What things should I be thinking about?
At Nationwide, what we emphasize all the time is brilliance in the basics. This is just basic, good, what we call cyber hygiene. These are things like make sure that you complete your software updates on a consistent basis. Educate your team on what to look for in a phishing attack and how to report it if they think they have one in their inbox or have clicked on one. Deploy endpoint detection and response, or make sure that your endpoints have good controls on them. This is making sure that your workstations, your laptops, and your servers have the necessary security controls in place to not only be able to prevent attacks, but be able to detect and alert when there is an attack happening. Lock down your remote connections as much as possible. What I mean by this is make sure that you don't have any of your systems available directly on the internet. We want to make sure that people have to go in through what we call a VPN or a virtual private network, a secure connection. Use multi-factor authentication. And then lastly, have a solid data backup plan and make sure that those backups are not on your core network so that in the event you do have an attack on your network, you have your backups in a safe location and they can be available to restore those systems in a timely manner.
With me now is Catherine Rudo, Vice President of Cyber Insurance with Nationwide, to shed more light on ransomware and what farmers and ag operations can do to better protect themselves. Can you talk for just a moment about insurance products that can help protect me then from ransomware attacks or any losses that I have from them?
The popularity of the cyber insurance product grew out of the privacy regulations as companies that stored healthcare information, personal information, financial information. They bought insurance to cover these data breach losses, which used to be the main type of cyber attacks. These are the types of attacks where criminals, they steal the information and it's the stolen information that holds the value. But times have changed and now ransomware is the significant source of loss. And we see now as buyers come to the market, they're finding more value in the ransomware coverages. The insurance policy covers data breach, responding to data breach, any liabilities associated with the data breach, including fines and penalties. The policy also includes paying the ransom. That's negotiating with the criminals as well. A big exposure to victims is business interruption, and the policy will also pay for business interruption loss while the systems are down, while they're under a ransomware attack. And then there's data restoration. So just bringing back the systems to the way they were, if that's at all possible.
Yes, as farmers, we think about, fire and theft, but this should be top of mind. This is theft today, isn't it, in our world?
It really is. The more we rely on these systems to conduct our business, the more reliant we are, the more impactful their going down will be. So we have to protect them.
Talk for just a moment about what Nationwide then does to help farmers prevent, but also then recover from those attacks through those insurance policies.
We do have a cyber endorsement coverage available at Nationwide, and we also have standalone cyber policies. We also provide cyber content and cybersecurity tips, which is available on nationwide.com. And if customers have questions, I would say their best bet is to contact their Nationwide Farm Certified agent. They can do that by finding an agent nearest to them by going to farmagentfinder.com.
As a farmer, this is probably something that's not always top of mind for us. So what would you tell farmers to think about or to find more information on the topic?
So the internet is filled with information about ransomware. I would suggest sticking with reputable sources such as CISA, which stands for Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's a federal agency. They are devoted to protecting the nation from cyber attacks to critical infrastructure. They have lots of resources to educate business owners and individuals on cybercrime prevention.
Catherine, what other things should I be thinking about when it comes to ransomware and cyber attacks?
So the cyber insurance market it's a young market as opposed to, say, a property market, which has a lot of historical data. So in the market, we are currently experiencing an unprecedented number of claims, most of which are ransomware, and which have increased in frequency and severity, meaning we have more of them and they are more expensive to resolve. I think this is a general statement, but I think that most buyers will feel the effects that ransomware has had on the industry. It's not different than how property owners feel the effects if in their geographic area there's a catastrophe, right? All the prices of insurance goes up after that. But I do think that this information should signal to buyers or would-be buyers how important the insurance is to have. So if you lived in a catastrophic prone area, would you really consider going without property insurance? And if you consider how common ransomware losses are becoming and no one is immune, no sector is immune, would you really want to go without cyber insurance? So it's a difficult market to navigate, but that is what your Nationwide Farm agent is there to help you with.
A big thank you to Catherine and to Todd for sharing their incredible knowledge and insight, and thank you to everyone for joining us. If you want to learn more, please visit aginsightcenter.com or contact your local Nationwide Farm Certified agent.